Hi friends, my name is Emma and let's talk spooky stuff. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another Come Chill With Me. I'm so excited because today I'm going to watch Malignant. This one is a very interesting situation because the film actually doesn't come out until mid-October in Australia, but obviously with, having a small presence on the internet around the horror community, even my inbox, just in the last 3 days, the film was released on Friday, today is Monday. I have had so many comments and even like minor spoilers. People DM me, people just get excited. And I understand, I know that nothing is malicious. I know people just get really excited about the movie and they just want to tell me, oh my God, you're going to love this one, or I don't know how you're going to feel about this one. I can't wait to see what you think, which is so lovely. But when you get a large number of those kinds of responses to you, or direct messages, or direct tweets, it starts adding up little clues people leave along the way to give you a picture, to paint a picture. So today I am going to watch the film on HBO Max because I can't wait. I can't wait for another month for it to come out because I don't want to keep hiding from the internet. I want to be part of the conversation, and it's kind of my job. It's kind of what I do on the internet. So let's watch Malignant today. I have seen parts of the trailer. This trailer actually played in Candyman and in another horror movie, I can't remember what, or another movie I saw at the cinema. And I do remember they were like repeating someone's name over and over and over in the trailer, but I was not looking at the screen and I could just kind of hear it. So I don't know too much about it. I do know that there was a bird emoji as well that was on the Twitter when it was trending, or the hashtag Twitter. So that really threw me off. The film is directed by James Wan, who is a Malaysian Australian director, obviously known for Saw and then The Conjuring films and Insidious. So it's so interesting that he's chosen this name of the film. Obviously it goes with all of his other titles, which I really like. One of the blurbs for the film says that it is about Madison, who is paralyzed by shocking visions of grisly murders, and as her torment worsens, she discovers that these waking dreams are in fact terrifying realities. All I know is that the film is insane. That's what people are telling me over and over and over again, that it's a roller coaster, that it's insane. WTF, a lot of people. So I think that's why people want to see my reaction, because I am quite animated. And I really have no other expectations. I have no idea if it's like a haunting. I have no idea what kind of film it is. So I guess that's good not knowing that. But I do know that it is a throwback to the 90s, people have been saying to me. Should be interesting. It'll be interesting to make up my own opinion. I didn't want to bring up the IMDb page and look too much into it because I have no idea what people are scoring this, and usually when I get to see big releases, I get to see them, at the time that there's not a huge influx on IMDb or other rating websites. So I just really wanted to make up my own mind, whether I love it or hate it. So let's make up our own minds and let's go watch Malignant. I am so excited. Let's go. Hey Grommy, do you want to come upstairs and watch Malignant? Come on, Gummy. Going upstairs. Come on. I guess I'm sitting on this side. I'm not going to do a long, drawn-out intro. Let's just start watching Malignant. I've waited long enough. I want to get on this roller coaster with you guys. If you do want to watch along with me, pause right now. I mean, we can't say it didn't make sense because it definitely did. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun and completely 600% unexpected. But at the same time, it's also not something we haven't seen before. It's just done in a fun, very self-aware way. Super quick side note, I really did not think about this mug being in frame. It's actually a place outside of Stockholm in Sweden that is a child-friendly museum, so it's not as sus as it sounds. I think my description at the start was really spot on. It is about a woman, Madison, who after an unfortunate circumstance finds herself having visions of murders. By the way, it wasn't a bird, it was a dagger.
You call that a knife? This is a knife.
That's not a knife, that's a spoon.
All right, you win. I see you've played knifey
Bird.
before.
I was waiting for the bird the entire film. I have to admit, I did check on Twitter at the very end because I was so confused about that part. The tonal issues, I can definitely see this would be why I've had so many people say that they love or hate this film. It was, I'm going to have to go into it. I know that this is going to stay spoiler-free for sure, 100%, but I do think it is worth knowing this before going into seeing the film, that it has a real, as I said before, like it's a self-awareness about it being more of a cheesy or like fun version of a James Wan film, which actually I was okay with because he has been so serious with his Conjuring films. It was kind of nice to see him really explore the genre and explore different moments of the genre or different subgenres or themes and ideas and not take himself too seriously. And then also when you take a step back and you look at the film and what the film's really about and all of the moments in the film, it makes more sense to take a more fun approach to it. So an example of this that is non-spoiler is there's a group of detectives in this film trying to figure out these murders, and at one stage one of them's like sucking on a lollipop just randomly. They have like the cheesy one-liners, and then there's this like tension, sexual tension between this woman who works on the CSI unit and him, and she's always like trying, you know, to get with him, and it's just weird and odd and off to the side, but yeah, just something that really sets up that tone where it's not, everything isn't too serious. And I think that they do that purposefully. Obviously it's very self-aware, but then also it wants the audience to take a step back and really suspend a lot of belief so that they can enjoy the full reveals of the film. In saying that, I did feel the film was kind of predictable. As I said, I feel like this stuff has been done before. I could name maybe like 6 films that all together matched up would make this film, but there is some aspects that really set it apart, and number one is the cinematography. How cool was the cinematography in this film? Absolutely stunning, but more like the logistics of the camera work. I'm not always talking about shadows and colorization. I'm talking about the movement of the camera. They have this amazing bird's eye view. I don't even know how they did this logistically. It would have been a nightmare, but they pulled it off of her running through the house, and you can see like, it's just an amazing shot. They have a lot of really cool tracking shots, some whip pans, and then there's this really cool POV shot, which doesn't really need to be in there, but again, it adds to the cheesiness. People don't like when I use the word cheesy, but I don't mean it as a negative thing all the time. So to explain further on that, it is a way that they like to be, in this film, self-aware, which I'm going to keep using that term, but it's a way that the film really makes the audience know it's a film and makes it quite aware that, you know, whether it be a cheesy line or just the way something is set up, it just makes you know that you're watching a film, and it kind of takes you out of the moment because it's so obviously set up. But yeah, there's this POV shot, which doesn't have to be there, but it's there to be like, just so you know, this is what the character's looking at, but it was totally unneeded. And I think that that's also, there's like just little moments like that, as I said before, like the lollipop, little moments like that to really break it up. But I do appreciate that they have to let you know the, you know, filmmaker's intent, and I'm very big on filmmakers' intent, especially when scoring films, because although, you know, most people score films on how much they like them, it's also what the filmmaker set out to do. So if they set out to do a comedy and do slapstick, and that maybe that's not your taste, you still got to grade it for the intent. At the end of the day, that has to come into the picture. Whether you choose to rate films like that or not, it's something that I always take into account. So when there were these obvious moments of them showing that they know what they're doing and they're intentionally setting it up like that, I felt like it was fun and kind of clever. I think this cheesiness is what people were talking about when they were saying the film was very 90s, but for me, it was very early 2000s. I had like a little bit of rose red kind of feel to it. And yeah, it just seemed like it wasn't trying to be slick and clever and quick and modern. And that's where it comes in with the elements. It throws different elements at us, which we've seen time and time again, that are unfortunately known to be stereotypical elements of a horror movie. I guess one thing I could say that isn't a spoiler is the house. The house is a very stereotypical horror looking house, if you get what I mean. Another thing that really helps with this stylization is the sound. There was this damning piano at the start. dun, dun. And then there's also the shrieking violins. It's very over the top. It's exaggerated. It's just not subtle at all. It's over exaggerated for a reason. And I also loved what they did with the thunder. Again, thunder on cue for transition scenes. I loved it. It was just very theatrical, and I'm into that kind of thing when it's the time for it. And I think it is time for James Wan to show that he can do something else other than Insidious and other than Conjuring, films that take themselves very seriously, films that are all about jump scare, where this film was all about reveals. Also, on one of the conclusion scenes of this film is a very, the lighting of it is very soap opera, very soft on the hairlines, you know, when it's like the light is coming from above and you can see the angel hairs, you know, the little... the flyaways I'm talking about. It just feels like it's obviously taking the piss a little bit, and that's kind of fun. That's kind of what we need. We need some fun. I can understand why this tonal switch isn't for everyone, and I do believe going into it, it is good to know, because I could imagine this would be quite jarring to see in the cinema. Besides all of that, there were some really great technical aspects other than the camera work. The action scenes in this film are phenomenal, and there's reasons for that because of what they chose to do with the elements of the story. It just adds this extra layer, and it's just so cool to watch the movement and the blocking between the characters, and trying to think how they did that is, yeah, it's really cool, and I really enjoyed that. And then there's also a lot of gore, which was unexpected, and that kind of comes in at the final, I guess, third of the film. It has such an epic finale, and although like all of the roads were kind of crisscrossed, I don't think it's as much as a roller coaster as everyone was saying. The film really does explain itself in the end. There's no questions left unanswered except for the love interest of the detective, but there's just not a lot left on the table, and it's actually quite a simple story. I think it's just the feel of it that really threw everyone else off, and I can't wait to read what everyone else thinks about it because of that. I will say that Madison, the main character, I really just didn't get to know her properly. I feel like you open up to, you know, something tragic happening to her, but you don't really get that whole like sense of who she is. And I mean, that can be part of the story, and that's maybe why, but it would have been nice or easier to sink into her character, and better for when, you know, things come up later, you would feel for her more. But I felt a little bit of disconnect from her, and maybe all of the characters. It didn't have like this amazing setup like a lot of other films. It starts off in the cheesiness and then it goes to modern day, and it would have been nicer to maybe have like a scene before that of her at work or something like that, just to kind of just ease into it a little bit more. But, you know, it did go for an hour and 50 minutes, so maybe they were short on time, but I did feel like I missed that element of actually connecting to a character. But maybe that's the whole point. You aren't meant to be so connected to these characters. I'm going between a 6 and a 7 for this one, but I do think I'm going to give it a 7. I actually really enjoyed it. And as I said before, I totally understand people might not like the vibe or the feel of this film, but for James Wan, I'm so proud of him. I can say he's Malaysian Australian, and as an Australian, I am very proud to see him branch out and actually do something different, because Insidious and Conjuring, I mean Patrick Wilson's movies, and you know where he came from with Saw, it's just so nice to see him try for a different vibe and really put some more elements into this film. I'm very appreciative of him taking a little bit of a different direction, and I'm fully going to support that. I can't wait to see what everyone else thought about this film. I can understand why people would love it and hate it. Please, in your comments down below, let me know what you liked and what you didn't like. You can just put spoiler and then just press enter a couple times and put in your comment. But just be wary if you are watching this video and you haven't seen the film yet. Just don't go into the comments just yet, just in case. I'm very blown away by the film, to be honest. I did not expect this at all. I thought it was going to be a haunted house story. When people kept telling me it was a roller coaster, I really didn't think it was gonna be so simple. But again, I think it's just the feel of it that really threw everyone else off, and their expectations for a James Wan film. I'm giving this one a 7 out of 10 for personal score. I enjoyed it. I can't justify it more than that. I enjoyed it, and I thought the intent is very clear. For scare, I'm gonna give it a 4. I didn't think it was scary at all. All of the scenes that were meant to be scary, I was kind of just like trying to guess what was happening. And I was mesmerized by the action scenes, so I didn't find them scary. Even the gore was just amazing. It was such like a throwback to like 80s horror, so I really enjoyed the gore sections at least. And for originality, as I said, it's not that original. It's got elements that we've seen in many other horrors, but he's just trying to give it a throwback element. But it is modernized in a way, but it doesn't really feel like it. This film could be set, you know, in the 90s, it wouldn't make a difference, to be honest. Mobile phones were used a little bit, but I think they could be replaced really easily. So originality, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. I don't think it's a very original film. I just think it's fun to have like a throwback to these elements. It really reminds me in a way of Fear Street, because Fear Street was, I guess it was like set in the 90s, but you know, they used modern cinematography and elements for that, and it felt like a throwback again. So I don't know if anyone felt the same way. Anyway, I can't wait to see what your comments are, and thank you guys so much for being here. If you'd like to subscribe, I'd love to have you here. We're nearly at 90,000. That's crazy. Also, if you want me to do a spoiler conversation of this film, I might be up for that later this week. So I'm actually gonna put a comment down there, and I want you to thumbs it up if you want me to do a spoiler chat. If not, that's totally fine. I would just like to see your thoughts on that. Anyway, I'll talk to you very soon. Stay safe and stay spooky. And if you can, check out this film on HBO now, not sponsored. Bye guys.